Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Dan Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Hooker, and who I'm here with today?
Justin, host of the At the Helm podcast, recording tomorrow, and he will be here.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. We'll know.
Be Liddy.
Okay, so what did you learn last week in college football?
First, someone who's got it first.
I would say I learned that maybe Ohio State isn't quite as strong as I thought they were. Because going through the season, of course, they haven't really played anyone of true competition. Then I guess you could say, I forgot to mute this. Sorry about that. Then I guess you could say Notre Dame at the time, who was ranked that we just talked about. But like now that doesn't really mean anything. So like they played against Penn State and you saw they were struggling for a little bit. They were actually down like what at halftime?
Yeah, they were down until the fourth quarter.
No, it wasn't that long. No way.
Yes, it was.
No, it was. I think they were down to the start of the fourth.
Yeah, it started the fourth, and then all of a sudden, Ohio State kept generating turnovers. That's how it was.
And to me, that showed that, I tweeted this out. I said, this is the first time Ohio State has played real competition, and we're seeing them struggle. And that means that other teams can get a recipe or formula on this is what it takes to beat a team like Ohio State. If we do these things great and elite, we can beat Ohio State. Penn State's quarterback had thrown 2 picks, and they were winning still. They were just playing defense. They were stopping that run game, and they weren't letting C.J. Stroud get fancy out the pocket and anything like that, which he doesn't do often, but he can do. And they were really just doing a great job of keeping him contained, and that run game slowed down. And their defense was just giving up points at the time. I never thought their defense was just world beater, but I thought they were a little bit better than what they showed this weekend. So I just like to say, Ohio State's not unbeatable. I'll say that.
No, they're not.
Well, I learned that, sort of echo what you said about Ohio State. It didn't start off great. They finished great, but I can't say his name right, but JT Tuma, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That man is insane. You're telling me he had 3 tackles for loss. I might misquote this because I'm not looking at it, but 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, a pick 6, another interception, and a fumble recovery, I think. That's just that's one of the craziest stat lines I've ever seen.
He went crazy. He had 2 fumble recoveries, actually.
2 fumbles. Even crazier, right?
Yeah.
And then
that's wild.
Illinois is a good football team. I know it was Nebraska, but I think Illinois is a quality football team, right? They're not going to blow anyone out. But with that defense, whoever comes out of the Big Ten East, it's not going to be a cakewalk like how Michigan did Iowa last year. It's going to be a decent game to watch that Big Ten championship, assuming they make it. I don't really see a way they don't at this point, but I think Big Ten championship will be a really good game. The ACC is kind of what we thought it was going into the season, right? Not a great conference. And
what did I tell you? I literally had this conversation with this man right here. And I told him it was the All Cupcakes Conference. And he didn't want to listen to me. Wake Forest just, man, what? They're talking all this about Wake Forest and all these schools, bro. They're not that good. Put them in any other conference.
Yeah. TCU keeps rolling. And, it looks like they should continue being undefeated, but in all honesty, they'll probably have a slip-up game just because that's what always happens every year. And then Georgia looks good. Tennessee looks good. That's going to be a great showdown. And it looks like USC and Oregon are on a collision course in the Pac-12 championship. So,
Yeah.
And Oklahoma State, golly, they got throttled.
I predicted
that was
that
bad.
Too, we talked about this too. I literally told him, I was like, bro, Oklahoma State's fake. They're about to get whooped. It's not going to be good. Spencer Sanders is not
I didn't think they were great, but I didn't think that was going to happen. Golly.
Yeah. Nah,
but to go back though, we've been I try to tell this man, and I just want to really spell it out for y'all. Wake Forest got beat by Louisville 48-21. 8 turnovers in that game. 8 turnovers by Wake Forest. Oh, but Clemson played such a tough team. Went to overtime with them.
NC State, I know they lost their quarterback, but they don't look great either. So
barely beat Virginia Tech 22-21, 1 point. And then Syracuse went out there and got whooped by Notre Dame 41-24.
That was a classic.
These are all the teams that Clemson has struggled against. But I just listed.
Yeah, that's a classic. Like, happens every year. Like, a team overperforms, and then once they get that first loss, they go on a little skid and they end the year with 3 losses. I think that's what happened to Syracuse. I mean, I don't think they're a great football team, but I don't think they're bad. But
I don't think they're terrible. But compared to the rest of the conference, I tried to tell this man, ACC is not as that strong. Like, we're rating Clemson's schedule really high because what I said, this happens. The ACC teams play each other. And since they're all bad, there's always going to be 2 or 3 teams that look really good. And they're going to be like, oh, they won all these games against all these ACC opponents. And they're all ranked. Of course they're all ranked. They all have great records because they all play terrible schedules. Like, they're playing each other and just beating up on the few bad teams that are in the conference. Like, it's like, and then out of conference, ACC schedules are not strong when you look at them compared to some of the other conferences. They schedule a lot harder games on purpose. So it's just like crazy to me that this is why I can never feel like Clemson is extremely real. And I tried to say this at the beginning of the season. I retracted my statement and apologized, but I'm like this close to putting it back out. Like, bruh. And they benched DJ.
How happy is Oregon that Miami came and took Cristobal from them, and then they were able to go get Landon? Because Miami looks terrible.
Terrible. Oh, my God.
Like, it's bad. And anybody who commits to Miami, I mean, we know why they're committing, right? And it's not because of the football.
A&M, Middle Tennessee State, and Duke.
And they had, correct me if I'm wrong, they themselves had 8 turnovers in that Duke game.
Oh, yeah.
And I know Miami hasn't been recruiting like they probably should, and they aren't the most talented team, but they're more talented than Duke, right? So there's no reason you should believe that. He's not a bad recruiter, but he can't coach at all. He's what a lot of like other teams were saying about Kirby the first 3 years. Right. He's not a great coach. He just has talent and he can recruit. So we'll see if he bounces back, but it's bad. Right, it's bad.
Okay, my turn.
I was gonna say, what did you learn, Jonathan?
Okay. I learned that Ohio State and Michigan, it's really going to determine between which defense is going to get stops more and which quarterback can win the games. And J.J. McCarthy is mid. Yes. Michigan cannot win a game unless Blake Corum or his running mate runs over 100 yards. If you stop Michigan's run game, they're not as good of a team. But the brawl that happened after the game, I ain't gonna lie, that was lame. Like,
that was bad. I got an ESPN notification that they suspended 4 players. So
yeah, Michigan State.
Yeah, I think some of them are getting charged too. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I learned that. South Carolina. Spencer Rattler, you're the definition of talent, but no hard work. Like, it's just so bad. Like, you went from Oklahoma to being the man. You got benched for Caleb Williams. Cool. You came to South Carolina. We all thought you was gonna have a comeback season. You were exactly the person we thought you were in the beginning. Tennessee, the entrance to the game, I'm not gonna lie, that was fire. I'm not gonna lie. The entrance to the game, the blackout, that was cool. I have to admit. Will Levis, I don't know. The hype has to cease. I'm tired of hyping him up. The hype has to cease. Please, like, I'm tired of hearing Will Levis in the top 3 conversation anymore. Just replace him with Will Anderson and move on with your lives. Simple as that.
3 picks.
Like, it's bad. And Ole Miss, you guys struggle against Texas A&M. But Texas A&M does have a quarterback for right now who can keep things stable, I guess. The freshman, I think he looked pretty decent. My Wake Forest quote does not retract. I think if you play Wake Forest and TCU in a neutral site game, it'll be close. That's all I'm going to say. Don't hate. That's not crazy. That's not crazy.
Stop.
Close.
Stop.
That's not
TCU would roll them.
TCU would absolutely roll them. Like, please stop it.
No, they're not.
TCU wouldn't have lost to Louisville.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
First off, who's TCU? TCU's going to lose to Texas or Texas Tech. One of those two.
They're not losing to Texas Tech. And if they lose to
I won't
Texas, that means Quinn Ewers had a great day.
I wouldn't be surprised just because the Big 12 is just going to shoot themselves in the foot again with having a playoff contender. But I think they're the best team in that conference.
They already did that a long time ago.
I mean, it doesn't matter. They're not making it to the playoff.
Yeah.
Who else? Georgia versus Florida. Florida said I'll say this. Georgia's second half performance, offensive wise, was kind of weird to me. It was like it was at times this was just trying to force things when Darnell was down on the flat. Just give Darnell the ball, move out of the way. Like, he's 6'7", 260, runs a 4.6. Let him ride. Like, I don't get it, but Florida's not a bad team. Plus, you guys had the number 8 recruiting class coming in for next year. So you guys have some problems with Billy Napier. It just needs time. I just feel like I hope Billy Napier doesn't get the Brian Harsin treatment where he just gets fired after 2 years, and it's just.
I don't think he will. I think that's
They'll give him more time than that because they see Anthony Richardson and what he is. Like, he's terrible.
Yeah. Plus
They'll give
I
him
feel
past
like
Anthony Richardson for at least like a year or two.
yeah. Plus,
and
go ahead.
well, I think the biggest thing that limited Harsin to 2 years was when he came in. The amount of players that have transferred out since then is not that they just didn't have talent, which is where Florida is. Mullen couldn't recruit, so they don't have talent. Auburn had some talent. Any talent they had left, right? I think that was the biggest problem with Harsin. Napier, I think he's safe. I mean, he kicked off Brenton Cox, right? I mean, that shows that he's trying to set a culture. And I think with Florida and Georgia just being such a bit, I know Georgia and Auburn are rivals, but there's not as much of a run. Florida's not sandwiched in between Alabama and Georgia. So Florida's in one of, if not the strongest recruiting base in the country. So I think he'll get at least 4 years. And I think he'll actually be a decent coach for him. I think Napier's a pretty good coach. I don't know how good he'll get him because he has to play LSU every year. He has to play Georgia every year. And some years he has to play Alabama. And so I don't know how good he'll get him. But I definitely think he'll get him back to being a good ranked program.
Yeah.
Every team has their run, where they'll go through that schedule and they'll make that schedule look easy. Like LSU did it, Georgia's done it, like Bama's done it,
I mean, yeah. What else did I learn? Kansas State's running game is really, really, really good. Deuce Vaughn did what he was supposed to do. And shout out to their defense for shutting out Oklahoma State and giving them a top 10 win at the time. Notre Dame, you guys are weird. Like one day you guys want to show up, the next week you guys just don't want to play football. Just choose one and stick with it. That's all I have to say. That's what I learned from college football from this week. So with college football rankings coming up, give me your guys' top 6. 4 in the playoff and 2 looking in.
Are we talking like what I think it will be or what it should be?
Both.
All right.
So give me the committee version and your version.
I think I'll go ahead with I think it will be Tennessee at 1, Georgia at 2, Ohio State at 3, Michigan at 4, Clemson 5, and Alabama 6. That's what I think it will be. What it should be, I think it should be Georgia 1, Tennessee 2, Ohio State 3, Michigan 4, TCU 5, Bama 6. That's my opinion.
TCU over Clemson?
Yeah, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have
Crazy.
Clemson. Because the thing is, Clemson, like we said, has beat up on bad teams, and their defenses look great. I think TCU and Clemson are the opposite of each other, right? And I think right now, with with TCU having Clemson does they shouldn't know who their quarterback is going to be for the rest of the season, with Cade having to come in and save them, even though he said DJ is going to keep starting.
I'll wait until later to comment.
Go ahead.
I think I'm taking that into account, right? I'm not trusting a team that doesn't know what's going on at quarterback. All the other teams before it have made a decision, they stuck with it, and there's no controversy.
You done, Gabe?
Yeah.
Okay. First off, there's no quarterback controversy in
There
Clemson.
is none. There really isn't.
Hey,
No,
I'll
there's
say
no,
that.
but there.
Kay literally said
There
this is
shouldn't be
DJ's
either.
team.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was said this is DJ's team.
There should be a
isn't one,
quarterback.
but
Did you watch that game? When Cade came in, all they did was run the ball. Like that man threw like 5 passes, and he completed
He
like
threw
2
that-
of them. Like he did
and
nothing.
he got that.
Ooh.
But that 2-point conversion was impressive, and DJU is not making plays like that all game.
I'll say
If
that
it came down
DJ
to it,
is what we
would
thought
DJ make
DJ
that
was.
play that game?
DJ's up and down. Like he got hyped for
I
them
agree.
few games or whatever and stuff like that. And I tried to tell people like DJ's okay. Like he's DJ. And I think there's 2 versions. There's Uwe Ungavale and there's Uwe Gooey Gooey. And we saw DJ Uwe Gooey on that weekend, and it was not good. And he was throwing them picks. So I agree that Clemson should be low.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll give my ranking later, but I don't think there's really a quarterback controversy, honestly.
I think
Or should
Clemson is
be
better
either.
than TCU, though. I'll say that. I think Clemson. I think that at the end, I still think at the end of the day, defense wins, right? I don't think you're trotting out a team with no defense, even if your offense is that good, right?
Yeah.
And then all the. I mean, I know the past couple years, not air raid, but the spread offense, throwing it all over the place. That's what has
That's
won
what wins you
championships.
championships now. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, all those teams had a really good defense. Like that LSU team gave up 21 points a game, which isn't bad. Alabama, they
That's
had
good
a
for this year's
defense, right?
college football, because if your offense is
Yeah.
putting up 40, 50.
Yeah,
you're
their
completely
offense,
fine.
LSU's offense put up 48 and gave up 21.
Yeah.
That's
You're in
they
a great spot.
averaged double what they gave up. So you can't. I still think defense is what's going to get you there. Maybe now when you're in that championship game and you're playing the 2 best teams, that offense might win you that game, but you're not going to get there without that defense.
Mm-mm.
Don't shoot the messenger. Clemson and Michigan are the same team. When you actually think about it,
Clemson's run game's not as good.
they rely on it. They rely on it as the same as much. They run it like throwing differences.
No, not as much. Not as much to me. Because there's more defense in the Big Ten, so they don't have to score as much, so they really lean on their running. In ACC, like, they actually be passing a little bit, because they will put up 30, 40.
Yeah, but when you think about it, like, their schemes are the same. Their run game gets them going, first off. Their defense is one of the best in the country. I say defense get the slight edge. I say Clemson's defense get the slight edge because of how deep their defensive line is and how good they are up in
Clemson's
the front.
linebackers are also really good. I think that's the more underrated part of them. Yeah, that defensive line is good, but if that defensive line takes the offensive line on and takes all 5 offensive linemen out of it, Clemson's linebackers are going to hit the right gap and they're going to hit it fast. So,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the secondaries, they both are meh.
But
So that's not crazy to say that. And you know that's not Justin. So don't come in here saying
it's not. I was about to give my ranking, because, like, I got something to say.
go. I want to hear this.
Okay, so this is what I think it should be. I'm gonna give that, and then I'm gonna tell you what the committee's gonna do, because I already know how the committee works. Like we've seen them long enough that we know kind of how they like to do things, how they like to rate their schedules and stuff. So my number one, Tennessee, they've had the best competition to me out of everyone that they've played. They played a lot of ranked teams, whether they're ranked or not now. At the time, they played Pitt, they played Florida, they went through, what was it? I can't even remember. Alabama, and then who else? They didn't play LSU, did they? Yeah, they played LSU. Yeah, they played LSU. So I think that's 4 great teams that they played, and then they played Georgia this weekend, and we'll talk about that later. But, yeah. So whenever you think about them and who they beat and, what they've looked like with the eye test, there's not a time where I can say they haven't been in control of their game. In any game they've played. You cannot sit there and watch them and say, oh, the other team was in control of the game at this point. There's not a time that you can say that. You can say the same for Ohio State, but Ohio State has played a lot worse teams. So that's why Ohio State is number 2. Number 3, you put Georgia there. They've played Oregon, which, in my opinion, is truly the only competition they played. That Oregon win keeps looking better and better as time goes on. When they beat UCLA down, that made me respect it a lot more, I won't lie. What are you saying?
But you brought up Florida for Tennessee at home, 3-point win. So Georgia's got the same win in a neutral site.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you all that. Y'all beat Florida as well. I'll give you all that. At the time, Florida wasn't ranked for Georgia, but that's the only difference. But that doesn't really mean anything. They're the same team. But 4. I really don't like Michigan, who I think should be number 4, in my biased opinion, should be Bama. Do I think? Hey,
there it is.
And let me tell you. And let me tell you why.
Go ahead.
Does Bama beat Michigan today if they play?
Yes, I mean if we're talking 4 best teams, it's Bama. I think you can't put them there.
Does Bama beat Clemson today if they play?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why, to me, in my opinion, Bama should be number 4. Bama is better than Michigan and better than Clemson. They have a loss, and that's the only reason they're not going to be there. Their loss is against the team that is going to be number 1 tonight. So that is the difference. And that's why I think people need to stop, kind of disrespecting, yes, Bama didn't look good in that game, but that was still a 3-point game. I think people forget what the score is because they get hype on the fact that Bama lost, and they're just like, oh, Tennessee whooped Bama. Tennessee barely beat Bama, and it took 17 penalties to do so. That is still a really good team.
And a missed field goal.
And a completely messed up punt and a missed field goal. Think about that. That was a lot of things. That was a ton of things that needed to happen in order for Bama to lose by 3. By 3.
Yeah, true.
So there's no way that you can sit here and tell me that Michigan and Clemson are better teams than Bama. So, in my opinion, Bama should be 4. Number 5 should be Michigan. Number 6 is Clemson.
I honestly think, I know we all know this. His first ranking doesn't matter. Every team in the top, I'll say every team in the top 7 or 8, all the undefeateds in Bama, they all control their own destiny, right? If TCU wins out, they're not going to leave an undefeated Power 5 conference champion out. Same with Clemson. Same with Michigan or Ohio State. Same with Tennessee or Georgia. And then if Bama wins out, the committee knows who Bama is. Bama, and they've earned this bias that they're going to get above these other teams. They've earned it. So if Bama's 12-1 at the time with an SEC championship win over either an undefeated Georgia or undefeated Tennessee, they'll be in, and they'll probably be the 1 seed.
If Bama wins out, they're in. If Tennessee and Georgia went out, they're of course in. If Tennessee or Georgia, whoever wins this game this weekend, whoever the winner of that is, if the only game they lose after that is the SEC championship, they'll still be in. So, that's we've talked about this before. There's a great possibility we see 3 SEC teams in this playoff. I would absolutely love it. That would be amazing.
It would probably be the worst viewership, but.
The viewership would be terrible. In the South, though, there would be not a single TV that's not on.
Yeah.
You're not missing that. So
okay, but I'll say this: the Alabama take, that's not crazy to say, Justin. I'll admit to it. That's not. Now that you explained it, and now I'm fully seeing it, it's not crazy because when you think about Bama, if you go down the list, Can Bama beat Georgia? Yeah, they can. All in fact, it's just Bama. Can Bama beat Tennessee again if there's a rematch? 100%. Can Bama beat Ohio State? 100%. Can Bama beat Michigan? They will mollywop Michigan if they play. Can Bama play Clemson? Clemson will get mollywop. All these teams are ranked in front of them right now in the AP poll. And I just believe that.
And we know the AP poll is stupid. That's why we got rid of it.
and then I believe.
Change. Playoff rankings on right now. AP poll about to be done.
It felt like it took so long for them to get to the playoff poll this year. I could have swore it was like mid-October before. Like, what's going on?
Yes, I swear it felt like that. But I think now it's more controversial than ever when we really think about it. Because now, when you think about it, last year we knew it was Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, and Michigan. That's what we knew. And yeah, you could add in Cincinnati. That was it. Everyone else was control their own destiny. But now it's like we all know it's more to it than ever. So for my number one, I'll go Georgia. They've been
wait. Let me do my college football playoff number one, my rankings.
Oh, okay.
I just want to say one thing real quick. Tennessee now has 2 top 10 wins. So
yeah, they just put LSU at number 10.
That's another thing.
They literally just put number. I was literally looking at that right now. 10. I was like, dang, they got USC at 9.
I just had to bring that up. So Tennessee. Okay, I'll go back. Tennessee's undoubtedly about to be number 1 for this committee. I don't know if anyone hasn't said that, but you can just skip the 2 at this point.
He just said Georgia, and that was his ranking. But I'll say this: both of y'all's rankings are crazy. If you're gonna put Georgia at number 1, you're a fan. There's no way that you can
lost the number 1 ranking.
They haven't done anything to earn it over Tennessee or Ohio State. They have not done anything to earn it over them.
So all the years that Bama went undefeated and they beat a neutral site top 10 team. Now all of a sudden it's crazy.
It's not crazy. It's not crazy.
When other teams had a better resume than them.
You always want to compare things to Bama. I'm talking about this year's teams. When you compare Georgia to Tennessee, remember what I said about Tennessee. They have not in a single game looked like they were out of control. Georgia, for almost 3.5 quarters against Missouri, was completely out of control. They had no control of what was going on in that game until the last, 10, 15 minutes of that game.
No. And time out. In that game, I swear to you, I didn't see Kirby Smart yell that whole game, and I think that was the problem.
Maybe.
Kirby did not yell that game.
But regardless, that's what happened in Tennessee. Like I told you, yes, the Pitt game they struggled, but to me, it still never felt like it was Pitt's gonna win. I really didn't feel that way.
Well,
when you watch that
Pitt
game,
was up 17-7 though. So we're talking about not in control. I mean, that's similar to what the score was for Georgia, Missouri, right?
But it just felt different when you watch those 2 games. It doesn't. When you watch how Georgia was performing while down like that, Tennessee didn't look like they were just not performing. They were just, I don't know.
Maybe it's a fan in me, but I was never worried about Georgia in that game.
There's no way that you can sit here and then with the rest of the schedule that Georgia's played versus the rest of the schedule that Tennessee's played, it makes 0 sense that you can put Georgia at number 1 like that. That is for sure.
But hear me out. I'll say this: Georgia's next 3 weeks will determine what team we have because we have to
not
play
next 3 weeks.
Tennessee
this week, right?
Yeah, I was about to say this week.
I mean,
Kentucky
this week. It does not matter what they do.
Kentucky just proved. Tennessee just went out there and proved that Kentucky, no matter what y'all do against them, doesn't mean anything anymore.
And Mississippi State. Let's think about who Mississippi State has beat and who they've lost to. They've lost to the only 3 decent teams they've played. I think, right? I mean, you go look at their schedule.
I'll give them that.
I don't think they're bad, but they just put Alabama at 6. But
yeah.
But here's my thing, right? You go look at Mississippi State's schedule, right? They beat Memphis. Okay, cool. They beat Arizona. Okay, cool. They got beat by LSU. They beat Bowling Green. They beat Texas A&M. They beat Arkansas. Then they lost to Kentucky and Alabama. So Arkansas has not had a good season. Texas A&M has had a disastrous season. And they did blow those teams out, so that's
That's
not a bad win. But then you tell me your losses are to the only teams that really have been ranked for any real part of this season. I mean, I know Kentucky isn't ranked anymore, nor should they. Or they, I don't know. I didn't see the end of the top 25, but
I think so.
the only 3 teams they've played that are any type of decent, they have lost to, and they haven't particularly been close.
They put Michigan at 5.
So
But
TCU top 4?
No,
TCU
they put TCU at 8.
at 7. No, I thought it was
7.
7. Yeah.
7, you're right, because Oregon.
They had Oregon at
They were the first one out of the top 6.
But yeah,
But
before
no,
they finished this, what mine was like I said, my ranking for them, I knew they were going to Tennessee, Ohio State. I had Ohio State over Georgia. I'm not going to go into why because they're about to announce it. Tennessee, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, and then I thought they were going to put Michigan and then Clemson, Bama, but they put Michigan at 5. So
Yeah, but my ranking is Georgia, Tennessee.
What do you think the committee's going to do? Because they're about to announce it.
they're doing it.
Oh, okay. I see what it means. Tennessee, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson. They should have put TCU at 5, but Michigan and Bama.
Okay.
Clemson's 4.
You might nail that.
You got a little bit of a cheat. No, in Michigan.
You said
and
Tennessee,
Bama.
Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, Michigan, Bama. You have the last 3 right. Clemson, Michigan, Bama.
Yeah, but when I think about it, Ohio State's gonna be deadly. Now I think about it. Oh my god, Ohio
They
State's
actually
so
might
good.
put Ohio State at 3 because what Michigan being at 5 tells me is they don't really value a Penn State win that much. Because Michigan beat the mess out of Penn State.
I thought Michigan
right?
should be over Clemson. That's kind of
Yeah,
And I thought they would. I think that Penn State
Yeah.
wins better than anyone Clemson's
it's so
beat.
disrespectful.
And
bro.
Clemson's wins keep looking worse and worse
4
by the
best
week.
teams right
so
now. Yeah,
But now when you think about
go
Ohio State
look at
as a
your
team,
TV.
mine's being a little slow.
Okay, happy for him. Still in the playoff. Anyway, like you're gonna go crazy. Anyway, like
That's it.
I love.
Okay, I'm a little annoyed. I wanted a 1v2 matchup. I didn't care the order.
I tried to tell you, Georgia's not. I don't know how you can make Georgia your number 1 team. Look, like,
Hey, we are going to talk about that when we get to the next segment. Okay, relax. Okay, so when you think about Ohio State, bro, CJ Stroud is going to have Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, can we all admit Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best wide receiver in the nation?
yeah.
That's playing this season? Yes.
Well,
It's between him and Robinson at TCU.
No,
Marvin
I
Addison-
put Marvin Harrison one. But you got also, I mean, you have to consider Hyatt, right?
I was about to say
I
what
think
happened to Addison
Harrison-
and Hyatt now. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but Hyatt to me is one dimensional. He's like Deshaun Jackson in Philly. That's who he is. He's like Deshaun Jackson in Philly. He's just a deep threat to me. But when you think of Marvin Harrison, bro, like he does everything. Plus, they still don't have Jason. They're doing it with Ibuka, who else? Fleming, and all those other guys. But when I think about that offense is crazy.
Yeah.
But nah. But my rankings, yeah, I still put Georgia 1 because they haven't done a lot, but Tennessee 2. But
you're such a fan.
I'll say 3.
You also have to consider this.
Oh,
You're, like, I want you to
The
be
committee-
a
the
fan of the
committee's
sport
brand
before a
new
fan of your
rankings.
team.
The difference is the committee's is brand new rankings, right?
Yeah, so
And
all those numbers that
for
we were
me,
talking
if
about
I've been-
before changed. Right.
Yeah, and so for me, I've had in my head what the rankings are the first 9 weeks that it's been.
Yeah.
So to me, Georgia was in number 1, and they haven't done anything to lost it. To the committee, there was no number 1, there was no rank. So
Talking about
That's
they
the
ain't
key
done nothing to
difference.
lost it. According to the AP poll, the Associated Press poll, are you serious? You've seen that poll. We've seen this poll for how
It's-
many years
okay,
now?
it's
terrible.
it's
If
crazy.
you lose a game,
it's
you're
crazy
done.
they put
Like,
LSU at 10.
No, I
It's
ain't
crazy.
Lie.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
But you know what they're doing? They're giving Bama the path back. Your time is up. My time is now.
Yeah, no.
So
LSU at 10. I'm not gonna lie. LSU at 10 is the same thing as Notre Dame at
They're
5.
giving Bama that path back.
Yes. That's.
You said what?
Thank you, Gabriel.
What'd you say?
LSU at 10 is the same thing as them having Notre Dame at 5 to start the season. Right? It's just building hype for this week's specific game. We know Alabama's going to go in there and beat LSU, just like we knew Ohio State was going to go in there and beat Notre Dame, and then it was going to be a top 5 or top 10 win. And no, I don't think LSU's a bad team, but LSU's in that 12 to 17 range for me. They're not top 10.
What would Ole Miss be? Because Ole Miss is just ranked 11. See, that's
Ole Miss
why they
cannot be 11.
That's why they put them up there. Is because Ole Miss in the AP poll was 7. They were just out of the top 6, and then LSU.
I hate the college football players. They're doing this for Bama. Oh, I realized this all. Oh, I hate you, Justin. I hate Nick Saban. Nick Saban's so weird.
That.
Right now, I dislike you so much. We're understanding you're weird.
Look,
This
I
is
think
Top 5 hater right here.
also UNC is just an off-brand, like a Walmart brand Tennessee. That's all UNC is.
I approach it as.
They're just the Walmart brand Tennessee. Illinois and North Carolina should be higher ranked, in my opinion. 16 and 17 is not where I would have them.
North Carolina, no. Illinois, yes. Texas is ranked? Gosh, I hate college football people.
24.
They love Texas for no reason. So weird. But now,
Strength of record. They have the strength of record right here. Tennessee is first. Ohio State is second. Georgia is 5th. Strength of schedule is different than strength of record though. The strength of schedule is still Tennessee 2019. Yeah. Ohio State.
Tennessee schedule. In the middle of the season, when you look at Tennessee schedule, we were like, whoa, that's the hardest schedule anybody can do. They were set up. But I mean, now that we look at it, cool. We learned, we moved on. But now,
it doesn't matter because if Tennessee wins, they'll obviously stay 1. If Georgia wins, they'll obviously jump Ohio State. There's nothing Ohio State could do outside of breaking Georgia Tech's record for winning 222-0 to take that number 1 spot this week. And that still might not get it done. And they might be on a bye. I don't know. I don't know who they play.
So Brian Harsin got fired. What's going to happen to Auburn now?
They're going to try to target Deion Sanders. They're going to try to target
Lane Kiffin should be the number 1. Lane Kiffin should be the number 1.
They're going to try to target both. And Hugh Freeze. They're going to try to get an offensive and a splashy.
Lane should say no so fast. Stay at Ole Miss, keep doing his thing, and then go to Bama because we all know that's who Bama's going to go for.
Ew, that is just
that's when Saban retires. That's who Bama's going to go for.
Did I say every week something spicy gonna be said, and that was it.
That's who they're going to go for. Okay, they might go after Dabo, but Dabo and Kiffin are going to be the 1 and 2.
No.
That's what I was about to say. Dabo will be the first one they try to get because Dabo went to Bama. But there is not a chance they are hiring Kiffin. Kiffin got basically kicked out of Bama by Saban because he was like, I'm tired of your mess. But there's just
who else are they going to go for? Assuming Kiffin stays on this track, who else are they going to go for after Dabo? I think Dabo says no. Dabo says
never heard
he has the perfect setup at Clemson.
They're gonna call about Kirby. Kirby's gonna say no. They're gonna give Kirby a call. Yeah,
Kirby's gonna say no.
I don't know why
Kirby's dream job.
They might give Kirby a call just cause, but there's gonna be no point. I wouldn't be surprised if they did it. I wouldn't be surprised.
They have to give Kirby a call just cause. But Kirby will say, "I appreciate the offer." No, it's not gonna be a conversation. I think Dabo will do the same thing.
Pointless.
He has. Unless something changes at Clemson, Dabo has the perfect setup at Clemson. He's done enough at Clemson. They're going to get the benefit of the doubt. All they have to do is go beat that weak conference every year, and they're in the playoffs.
And that's why I think Dabo would probably make that switch. If he hears that in his ear enough for the next however many years until Saban retires, and that recruiting keeps getting worse and worse like it has been, I would not be surprised to see Dabo up in dip.
The only reason Dabo
is from Bama, born and raised, and played there.
The only reason Dabo ever goes to Bama is if people start talking to him about his legacy because he's not winning the championship. And I don't think that changes if he goes to Bama. I don't think Dabo coming to Bama changes anything about who Dabo is.
I think they're able to recruit a little bit better players. Like we see that talent in the SEC is better than the ACC. So I don't know.
But nah, I think Auburn just a dumpster fire now. Because now when you think about it, when all season comes, it's gonna be free agency at Auburn. Literally, Tank Bigsby's gonna be gone, but it's gonna be bad.
They had like 3 wide receivers enter the portal, and they had a defensive lineman enter the portal last week. One of the bigger players.
But yeah, I think they're going to try that splashy hire. They got to. Okay, they have to bring a big name there.
So your 3 is who?
I said Deion, Lane, Hugh Freeze.
I can see Hugh Freeze.
Is it who do they go after or who do they get?
I think those are the 3 coaches they're going to go after. I don't know who they're going to get because I honestly don't think Deion's going to say yes to that. I don't think Deion wants that. No. I think Deion is waiting for Florida State to open up, honestly. He has no reason to rush to go to a different school, honestly.
No, after what's came out about Auburn and how their boosters have interfered with that program and tried to get him fired after 1 year, no coach that is at another job is going to want to come take that. Hugh Freeze just signed a 10-year extension with Liberty. That means he's at least okay with being there. Mm-hmm. Lane Kiffin, he should be in no rush to leave, right? He's at perfect.
Lane Kiffin, I was about to say, he's at the perfect place that deals with the type of culture that Lane Kiffin brings and the type of attitude that he has.
And
Auburn is not going to tolerate
what he's doing. Yeah, if Ole Miss keeps up what they're doing under Lane, he'll get a call about a bigger job, right? And if he wants it, he'll go get it. Yeah. He'll get a call about a bigger job than Ole Miss. 3, Deion is not going to – no, there's too much involvement from the boosters. Deion has a certain way he wants to run his program, and that does not fit it. And Florida State would be the perfect one. He still has FAMU right there, so he can still continue what I think his main passion is, and that's influencing the HBCUs, and he can go back to his alma mater. I don't think there's a better option for Deion. I think their best case scenario is going to be to get Matt Rule. I think that's Auburn's best case scenario. That's realistic because he doesn't have a job, right? So even though
I don't think that's crazy,
Auburn doesn't look like a good place to go if you have a job. He doesn't have a job right now. As of right now, I don't know what better opening there is. Maybe Nebraska, but getting the talent there right now is so hard. Auburn, you're in the middle of right by Georgia, Florida. You're right in the South. I know you're sandwiched in between Alabama and Georgia, but you're in the SEC. Now if something comes open that's better, that wants Matt Rule, he might go to that. But right now, there's no better job open.
I don't know about that. I don't.
For me,
if he doesn't want as much pressure at first, I think he could go to Nebraska or Georgia Tech or one of those schools. Be kind of
Nebraska's going to give him the most pressure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I think he's going to go back to that Big 12 like he was before. But
if we were going to call someone, Auburn's ADR said they want someone with SEC experience.
The new AD, like they're getting a new one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he said he wants someone with SEC experience. Call me crazy. They might call Mike.
Don't say Urban Meyer. Okay, I was finished.
No.
That'd be crazy.
They might call him.
They might call Urban Meyer, but it's not happening. It's not happening.
No.
I don't even think they call him.
No,
they don't even call him because that program is ran by the boosters, right? It's not the coach running that program. I mean, we already saw what happened. You think if they did that to Brian Harsin, uncovered all that, what do you think they're going to do to Urban, who we already have so much dirt out on? Think about what we don't know.
Depends how much they like winning. Urban brings a winning team. They might shut up,
but that's
like they just might.
I don't think. But I don't think.
Like I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think Urban takes that. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, Urban
has seen what they did,
and he doesn't want to be in the SEC again. He already got ran out before, so I think he doesn't want that.
They are going to do a 30 for 30 about this man's Florida team. After that comes out, he's not going to get another coaching job. All the stuff he allowed when Tebow was there, Brandon Spikes, Percy Harvin, the Pouncey twins, all those people.
Hernandez.
He let everything slide over there. Literally, you
It
know
is
how many
really
arrests they have?
crazy. It is
Scam
really
Newton.
crazy that the person leading that team had Bible verses written right here. That's just, I mean, that's crazy. But
No. A reminder, no. I'll say they might call Mike Leach. They might give Sam Pittman a call. They might give Sam
I
Pittman.
don't see why. What reason do they have to give Sam Pittman a call?
Because the way he built up Arkansas.
Arkansas does look better.
They look better, but they don't look great.
No, but they think about it. They ascended so quickly. Like
They're steadily like getting better. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think that's crazy.
I think there is worse they could do.
And then you can also say, yeah, maybe Matt Rule, but I gotta see who else gets fired.
Here's my message to
You have to
Auburn.
wait till the end of the season.
Please call Bill O'Brien. Please take Bill O'Brien away from Alabama.
No. Keep Bill O'Brien at Bama. Keep Bill O'Brien at Bama. No.
Look, if
Bill O'Brien is the best
Bill
coach
O'Brien
that you can
leaves-
have, Auburn.
No. God, no.
If Bill O'Brien leaves, they're going to find a way to get the craziest off. Like, I don't know. I don't know who they're going to get, but it's going to be crazy.
Bill O'Brien.
Lincoln Riley, little brother. No, bro. I don't want to hear that statement at all. Just cut out.
I would take Scott Frost.
I will say this.
I would take Scott Frost. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think he'd be bad. We've seen what he can do with an
As a
offense.
coordinator?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've seen what he can do in an offense. I don't think that'd be bad. I've said that
I will
multiple
say
times.
this. If Auburn hires an offensive coach, which is what I think they'll do,
That's what they're doing.
one person that might go as the offensive coordinator is Dale McGee, Georgia's running back coach, right? Because he was an analyst for Auburn, right? He went to Auburn,
Yeah.
and he's from Columbus, right? Which is, I mean, it's Georgia and Auburn territory. So that's just something to watch out for in terms of Georgia. I don't know, but
Yeah. That's not crazy, though. But I think
Auburn's going to strike out a lot. I think they're going to get like 5, 6, 7, 8 no's, hard no's on realistic candidates.
And that's what's crazy when you think about our Auburn. When we were growing up, was like such a good school. When they won the championship, and then Gus Malzahn, Nick Marshall, it's like Auburn was a respectable school. Now it's a dumpster fire. So we just don't know.
Up and down though. They've always had really bad years and really good years.
LSU same way.
And you know what? They really haven't done much, even when they've been great. These past 20 years, they ain't beat Georgia that much. You know who they have beat? Alabama.
This man just talk. That's crazy.
I'm playing.
What has that brought for Georgia?
Anyway. Don't get the Saban muncher going. Anyway, predictions for the week. Let's go with North Carolina or Virginia.
North Carolina, yeah.
Oklahoma State versus Kansas.
You already know how I feel.
Yeah, you're going Kansas.
Maybe I'm a hater.
I'll go Oklahoma State.
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. Where's it being played at? Yeah, give me Kansas. Getting played at Kansas. That crowd gonna be straight.
The man picks at least 3
Syracuse or
home
Pitt?
teams just for that reason a week. Syracuse, I think they'll bounce back.
This man was what? This is so funny because he be on the podcast doing the same thing with me, talking about quit disrespecting the home crowd. Like, I'm not disrespecting the home crowd. I just know that some teams are better. It doesn't matter. You can take a crowd out of a game real quick when you put up 14 points on a guy. Like,
That's what LSU did, or that's what Tennessee did to LSU.
Anyways, when I did that, I was right all the time. Now it's sudden.
cap, bro. If we went back and looked at the recording,
Wake Forest,
there's
NC
no
State.
way.
Wake Forest, NC State. Wake Forest, NC State.
Wake Forest, they'll bounce back. NC State doesn't have the QB.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Wake Forest for that reason too. They're not gonna turn over the ball 8 times. Like that's not something that happens often.
Texas or Kansas State?
Kansas State.
Kansas State. I
Mm,
think they're on a crash course with TCU.
Quinn
Yeah.
Ewers has kind of like regressed. like over the last few weeks or so.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he hasn't
He-
looked
he
as
looked-
good as he was.
Because I remember on this specific podcast, I remember the host of this podcast talking about if he had beat Alabama, Clint Ewers would be in New York for the Heisman, and he has not
would.
looked like that. If he had
He
beat
would.
Alabama and then continue the rest of the season how it's been, he wouldn't be in New York.
All these coulda, shoulda, woulda. So what? He's been playing bad. Cool. It was a cold take. Like what?
Freezing.
Stop being weird about it. Don't say that, Justin, because you agree with me. You don't say that. You was like, that's actually a pretty good take. I ain't gonna lie.
No,
Like,
I
you
did
said
not
that.
say he'd be in New York, but I did say that Tennessee would be a top-ranked team. I think they would still be in that top 15 at least.
Cool. Clemson or Notre Dame?
Clemson.
I don't think it's going to be a Clemson blowout, but I think it's going to be a close game because Notre
I'll
Dame
take
likes
Clemson by double digits, but not a
for real.
blowout.
14.
What's the spread?
That 10 to
What they
14
got it
range.
at?
They got it at 4.
4? So, yeah,
I think Clemson covers.
They trying to tell you. I think they cover, actually. I'll say 1 touchdown. I think it's a 1-possession game.
Anywhere from 7 to 14.
It's a Notre Dame night game. That's when it's close like that.
1-possession game.
Oh, now it's a 1-possession game. But now when we say 2 possession, okay. But now it's the home crowd. He brought it down to 1. That's crazy.
It does mean something, but you can take a crowd out of it, bro. I'm not going to overrate the crowd like you do. I give them their
I
credit.
will say this. I've seen in person a team take over Notre Dame Stadium, right? I'm not saying it'll happen with Clemson because they've played them enough, but I don't think there's any reason it might not be 50% Clemson.
You went to that Georgia Notre Dame game 2 years ago? I already knew it.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. That's, like when he showed us pictures, I was jealous.
That's
Bro. I ain't gonna lie.
That's when
I ain't
Fromm
gonna
took over, wasn't it?
Terry Godwin went.
Yeah. That Terry Godwin one hand, I was about like 10 rows up from where he made that catch in that corner end zone. So that was
That's
fine.
crazy.
But regardless, Notre Dame is a place that fans want to go see. So I think when they're not good or when they're not great, their home crowd advantage can be a little overrated just because so many – it's like the Rose Bowl, right? So many fans want to go see the Rose Bowl. So many fans want to go see Notre Dame Stadium that if they're not great and they're selling their tickets, Clemson fans are going to buy them. Georgia fans are going to buy them. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Last one. Alabama versus LSU.
Alabama.
What's the spread? I'll tell you if they cover it or not.
You're laying for that.
13.5. Bro, stop being weird.
13.5. LSU covers that.
LSU covers that, bro.
Because it's in Baton Rouge, right?
Oh, night
At
game.
nighttime.
I mean, they cover it. I don't think it's necessarily like close.
I'll say
it's close, but I don't think the last 10 minutes of the game you ever really think Bama's going to lose.
I was about to say to not be a fan, I'll say by 10, but I honestly think Bama's going to continue. Like I used to tell my dad this when I was younger. Bama actually needs one loss for them to end up winning championships. Most of those seasons that we win championships, you see Bama has one loss. I call it the get right loss. They do it all the time. If you go and look at what Bama has done after they took one loss in a season in most of our seasons, they wreck the rest of the season because they realize we're not playing around. This is like Saban does not play the losing stuff, bro.
They did that to LSU, that 1 versus 2, 2011, 9 versus 6.
Yep.
And then they came back in the Natty and beat LSU.
Yep.
That was
a lot of these. The year that we lost to Ole Miss, and they tore down that goalpost.
Yeah.
Went on and wrecked the rest of the season. It wasn't close. So it's like there's a lot of times that they do this. So I wouldn't be surprised if Alabama wins by like 21. But for respect of what LSU does, I will say 10.
Give me a score prediction then.
If I'm giving a score prediction, I'm not a big fan of LSU's defense. And I think Saban and them are finally playing the right players. So I'll say 42 to 30, 35. Like,
What
We'll
if Trayshawn Holden starts?
he's not. We saw that in Mississippi State. Saban actually did it right. He had JoJo Earl. He had Kobe Prentice. He had, what was it? I'm forgetting his name. Dang. Ja'Cory Brooks. They had Ja'Cory Brooks out there. They had the right guys out there that were playing. They had Isaiah Bond out there. But they did kind of have sets. Like, I will say, it's like whenever you see Ja'Cory and JoJo Earl leave, that's when you see Trayshawn and Burton come in. It's like they come in packages. I think they're literally in different offensive sets. So you would see them both in at times, like Holden and Burton, but you notice a difference in how the offense moves when Ja'Cory and JoJo are in. Like, there's a real big difference. So
I'll say 31-24, Bama. That's my guess.
I'll say 41-31. About that range. But who Eli Rich is gonna guard? Neighbors or
He don't play, does he?
He played last week. I told you, Saban started putting in the right players finally. He did what he was supposed to do. And that's what I was so happy about. Saban stuck to his word. Like, he held himself accountable. Like, because a lot of times he starts blaming other people. I won't lie. Like, Saban does like to blame other people. But this time, it was coaching that was his fault. It was his fault. The right players weren't playing. I don't know why Eli Ricks was never playing. He was absolutely locked down over there. You could not throw him. Like
that boy lived up to the hype that game. He
literally. I don't think there was a single pass caught over near him. Like, it wasn't close. Like,
but who's gonna guard? Neighbors or is he gonna guard Butte?
Butte. Shadow anybody? I don't think they shadow.
Yeah, they don't really like to shadow because, like, unless Ricks had like been doing this all season, because like one of the few people we had shadowing was Patrick Surtain. Like, he would actually follow around like best receivers. Like,
that's a blueprint of a Bama corner. That's one.
Yeah, like
that's the literal blueprint one.
That's a rarity. Like, we didn't really have many times where we had like a corner shadowing, and like Surtain was one of the first few. Ricks has not proven himself like that yet. If he had been playing a full season and been doing what he had been doing all season, like he did in that Mississippi State game, I would say yes. Like, he would probably shadow someone, but I doubt they do it.
All right. Well, that concludes college football segment. We're gonna go to the next segment, and that's gonna be the one everyone wants to hear: Georgia versus Tennessee. So we can see you guys in a little bit. Peace.